Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Layla, and in this video I'm going to talk about how I want to be wealthy. This is the last video I'm going to be filming in Florida, wrapping up our 3 weeks here, which has been amazing. And as I said in some other videos, I'm very sad to be leaving because it's so beautiful. And honestly, being here has kind of sparked this topic of conversation for this video. And this video is kind of more laid back for me. I'm not going to be necessarily like teaching anything. It's just kind of me talking about my thoughts around this topic. And I don't know, I guess just me talking about it is kind of helpful for myself as well. So first of all, I kind of want to touch on the difference between being rich versus being wealthy, because I feel like I want both. So I was looking up those definitions before. Let me pull that up. The main difference between being rich and being wealthy is that wealth is more sustainable and long-term, while being rich can be more about having a lot of money to spend in the moment. And I feel like that's what I agree with. And I would say I want both. Like, yes, of course, I want to be wealthy as a whole. In the future, I want to be super stable and have money saved up and hold on to my money. You know, that's the point of me saving and investing right now. But I also want to be able to spend right now as I want to. I think a lot of time people perceive the term rich as negative, which I completely understand. And that's why I'm more leaning towards the term wealthy for this. So most of the time, and for most people, when you think of somebody who is rich, you're thinking like, oh, they have the fancy watch, the fancy house, the fancy car, they have a yacht, like, you know, it's these very materialistic things. And for me, that's not what I'm looking for, but I do want to be rich and wealthy in the present moment and in the future. And would that include buying material things right now in the present? Sure, like sometimes. Who wouldn't want to be able to spend money without having to think about it? But for me, that's not what's really important to me. Like, I don't need the fancy car, I don't need the big house, but I definitely want more because I want more options in my life. And I'm going to kind of explain what I mean by all of this too. The other thing I want to touch on is money buying happiness. Because obviously we've all heard money doesn't buy happiness. And no, it doesn't. But honestly, I believe that money solves like 80+% of problems that people face. And I wanted to give you some examples of this. That's why today I'm filming this on a Thursday, I posted on my YouTube community a poll asking which of the following would have the largest impact on your life today. So far, and at the time of me filming this, better physical or mental health is winning at 41%. By the way, there's 198 votes so far. Next after that would be more money at 39%. And then the other options I had were a romantic relationship, better friendships / family relationships, or other. And then there's been some comments. Now, a few people in the comments did say that they would want better relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, whatever the case may be. And they were saying they do feel control over the other things like their health and their finances, which I would agree with. Like, it's not, I personally wouldn't want to buy friendships, and I agree that friendships are really difficult. And just to clarify, this may be obvious because of the whole video topic, but my vote would be that the thing that would have the largest impact in my life is having more money. But there are other parts of my life, like friendships, for example, that I would want to improve. But anyway, that's aside from the point. Those make sense where it's like, okay, yeah, that would have a big impact and money can't solve that issue. Somebody commented, a better work-life balance so I can prioritize better health and relationships. I commute for 3 hours a day, so I'm away from home for almost 11 hours, leaves me no time for anything else. Something that would solve that issue is money at the end of the day. Let's say that you had more, like, you wouldn't even have to work if you had more money, you know, just as an example. Someone said, my bad health extremely restricts how much I can work and what jobs I can sustainably work. So now this depends. With health, it's tricky because if it's something where you have no control of it, like you have cancer or like a tumor, something really, really bad that even $1 million wouldn't solve it, then that makes sense, like where you would rather have your health over money. But for a lot of situations, if you had money, you could invest in a nutritionist, a better doctor, a trainer, like all of these things could lead to your better health. And you're more likely to get to that better health because you're not worrying about work or money and those things. And then you're able to have somebody who's holding you accountable for all those things because you're paying them money and you're like, okay, now I'm gonna take it seriously type of thing. Someone commented, a massive healthcare overhaul, so my healthcare job isn't so absolutely draining for the wrong reasons. And what I'm getting out of this is like she wants to work in this job, but it's, or she or he, I'm not sure. They want to work in this job, but they are stressed out at that job for whatever reason. So no, maybe money wouldn't solve that issue, but it could, because if you had money, you could just leave that job, you know? And kind of going back to the health thing, like I said, if it's something that's really, really serious and no amount of money can fix it for you, that makes sense. But back when I was really sick in 2021, for those who don't know, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease in 2021, but for like the first 8-9 months or so of the year, I had no clue what was happening to me. So I was spending a lot of money on doctors and like trying to get better. And in that situation, all that I wanted was my health, but also money would have helped my health situation. You know, even once I became diagnosed with Crohn's disease, the medication that I had to be put on costs over $7,000 per month without insurance. And so in order for me to get on that medication, I had to go through all these like calls, and it just took a long time. It took a couple of months before I could even start my medication, because the insurance, and if I didn't get a prior authorization and I didn't have all these things, then I would have to pay for it out of pocket. And so it's like, okay, in order for, and it turns out that medication was really good for me. That put me into remission. So for that situation, had I just had money, I would have been like, I don't care, I'll just pay for it, you know? Like forget insurance, I'll just pay for it out of pocket, you know? Like, why am I waiting for this? I'm sick and I want to feel better. At the time, I was also getting acupuncture on a regular basis. That was very expensive and something that I wanted to continue, but I was like, this is too expensive. So yeah, for me at that time, I did have a lot of health issues, and that would have made the biggest impact for sure. Like, I just wanted my health back, but money would have really, really helped too. And ironically, today on LinkedIn, Gary Vee posted this video. I will play it for y'all.
To me, if you're making $84,000 a year, but you're doing everything you want to be doing, you're much more dominantly successful than somebody making $8 million a year who's anxious every day. But we don't have that nuanced combo yet. But I do think it's coming. I'm done with people saying shit like, I'd rather cry in my Ferrari. It's the stupidest fucking statement of all time. It's so fucking stupid. People say shit like that when they don't realize what crying is. Depression is horrible. Unhappiness is horrible. Nobody wants to fucking cry in their Ferrari. I'd rather be happy as fuck taking the bus.
And I 110% agree with what he says in that video, and that is like part of the reason why I quit my job. Like, I would much rather make less money and be happy with what I'm doing than have a higher income. But at the same time, and in my opinion, I think it's okay to want to have a lot of money. Like, I think for my situation, that is something that would make a huge impact on my life. And I would say right now that my life is pretty rich, you know? Like, no, I don't have a bunch of zeros in the bank account, but I am in a happy long-term relationship. I have a family who they're all still alive, and they love me and they care about me. I am now much healthier. I would say that I am probably the healthiest I've ever been. I'm really happy with my weightlifting, my body, my progress, that sort of thing. I am working for myself now, like literally going after my dreams, and literally every single day I wake up and think like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like, I'm doing this, you know? But at the same time, I frequently have the thoughts of like, I want to be wealthy, and I want that wealth right now, or basically as soon as possible. So let me explain why. So as I said, this trip to Florida, this is really, we came down here for 3 weeks, and we really just planned on working from Florida, but also going to the beach when we wanted to, and, you know, having a little bit more fun on the weekends, and that's exactly what we've done. The other reason that I wanted to come down here is because I want to live here at some point. Now, the difficult part in moving down here is the money. One, the homes are, I specifically would like to live in Destin, Florida. That's where we are right now. Now, I don't need like a big fancy house or anything, but even the smaller homes are much more expensive. This is also Florida, where it's, you know, the hurricanes come through here. So insurance is either not an option, or it's just very expensive. And, you know, what would solve that problem is money. At the very least, I would like to own property down here at some point, and that's probably something that, you know, as things are right now, it's probably something that could happen in like a decade or two. But I really want that as soon as possible, you know? Like, I would love to live down here while I'm in my 30s. I don't want to have to wait until I'm in my 50s or 60s. And even thinking about where we live back in Georgia. Now, don't get me wrong, I am absolutely so grateful for our home. I think it's really cute, it's cozy. At least we have somewhat of a yard, even if it's super tiny, and overall it is a relatively safe location. But at the same time, the reason my boyfriend was even looking at the houses in the city that we live in is because everything else was much more expensive. So we are a little bit further south of Atlanta, and I'm not a huge fan of the location. I would rather be elsewhere, but in order for us to do that, or even having like land, property, like I would love to be more isolated, but that takes money. Something else is I just don't want to have to think about money. Like, I just don't want it to be a thing that is a concern for me, you know? And I know that's what a lot of people want, but I'm literally just voicing my opinion here, what I truly want in life, you know? So if we go out to eat and it's very expensive, I don't want to feel ooh about it, you know? If there is something that I want to buy, I want to just be able to buy it, because at this point in my life, I don't feel like I'm buying things just frivolously, you know, like I put some thought into it, or it's things that I really, really like and I want to purchase them. But a lot of times I do still feel that guilt around spending, especially right now, since my only income is from me running my business. I know that I have to be more careful with my spending. And same goes with travel too. My boyfriend and I love to travel, and we have traveled to a lot of places, and I know that's something that a lot of people can't even say, you know, some people haven't even left their hometown. So I'm very, very grateful for the opportunities that we have and that we are able to travel like we do, but we still put a lot of thought into places that we come to. So for example, with this Airbnb, this 3-week stay here cost about $4,000 total. We're here for like the first 3 weeks of October. So this is the off season, and this was much more affordable than it was back in June, for example, which was why we came during this time, and I'm glad we did because it's been beautiful. But there's been a number of problems at this Airbnb, and it's also just like inside is not, it's not super comfortable, or it's not super like up to par, I would say. And had money not been an issue, like we would have gone to a much different Airbnb. So yeah, anytime when it comes to travel, we're definitely still looking at the cost of things. Like if a flight is too expensive, or if the hotel, Airbnb is too expensive, we take that into consideration, and that affects what we book for our travel. Another reason this is important to me is because of my parents. So both of my parents are in their 60s, they're mid 60s at that, and they're both still working. I don't expect for either of them to retire really anytime soon. Without going into great detail, I would say that neither of my parents are super prepared for retirement, and I do feel that no matter what, that's something that's going to fall on myself and my sister. I don't know what that's going to look like or what that will mean, and maybe I just don't completely understand how it all works. But that is a big concern of mine, and I would rather have, it's not something like, I don't think it's right for parents to fall on their children as a retirement plan. I think that's not right, you know? And I hope that's not what ends up happening, but it's something that I want to be prepared for, and I'd rather, like, having more money would help that situation. I mean, even just being able to help out my family now would be nice for certain things. So yeah, in order to do that, like, of course, me being there just as a daughter and as a sister, I think is more important. Like, they probably just want to spend quality time with me, but I think also having money would be a nice little touch. And then the final thing of why this is very important to me is for giving purposes. Like, I would love to be able to give more. Whenever I donate money, like actual money to any sort of charity or nonprofit, it is to animal rescues. And so that's something I've basically always done. I would love to be able to give more to the charities that I donate to, because it makes a huge impact on what they're doing, and it's a mission that I care about, of course, too. But beyond that, I want to be able to help people as well. So y'all know that I have my biannual giveaway. I give away $1,000 2 times a year, and I've done it twice at this point, but another giveaway is coming up in November, December, and I want to be able to do more of that, and not just 2 times a year. Like, I would like to be able to make it more. I would like to do it more frequently. I would like to just help people out when it comes up, you know, like deserving people who are paying down their debt or just like struggling with their finances. I know for myself that being able to give, it just feels really, really good. And it's something that I enjoy. Like having those giveaways is so cool because money makes a huge difference for a lot of people, you know, and $1,000 is a lot for me, but I know that $1,000 is a lot more for other people. Hopefully that all makes sense and I'm not coming off in the wrong way. I'm just being honest here, and it's something that I'm going to work toward as much as possible. And you know, I'm going to try my best to reach a point of wealth sooner rather than later. And I've been documenting my financial journey for years on this channel, and I will continue to do that. And you know, I don't know if it's something that will happen in the near future, but I'm definitely going to work toward it. And I hope that it does happen because that would be amazing. So yeah, I would love to hear what y'all think. Let me know if you agree with me. Feel free to disagree with me as well in the comments, that's fine. Like I said, this was more of a chill video so I could just express my thoughts around this topic, and hopefully y'all enjoyed it or just got my perspective on this. But thank y'all so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one.